Hi Aquarius, I hope that you're all doing well. The first card that we have out here is Two of Cups. So, Two of Cups is a card that is connected with the choices that we make, and I think it comes down to making choices that we either feel at one with and we feel like it is congruent with the way that we are really feeling about things, versus making choices. It's like making choices where you feel like it brings you together with yourself, regardless of like whoever else is involved, versus making choices that could sort of like split you apart from yourself. Now, the next card that we have out here is Seven of Swords. When we have Seven of Swords, there is a need for us to reflect more deeply upon something, because it can be something that we're missing. It can be something that we're like not realizing a little bit, but upon further inspection, it is something that we can see that we weren't seeing before. I'm seeing Seven of Swords, I'm seeing Seven of Wands. Maybe there's something here that you're doing that like needs to be reevaluated a bit. Like Seven of Swords and Seven of Wands can be something that we feel like kind of defensive about. It can be something where like we're showing up and feeling like this, but we may not, you know, like sort of dying on a hill here, but we may not totally understand why we're doing that. Like having the Seven of Swords before it, it's like you may be just like doing this out of like some type of reflex even. And you may not be totally aware of what's driving that, like what the motivation is for that. Because with Seven of Swords, it's that like something's going on, but we're not totally there in a place of awareness yet about exactly what that is. So this can even be like I'm having thoughts right now that are motivated by something that I'm not totally clear on, or like I feel myself doing this, or there's even like an urge for me to do this, or I am actually doing this, but I don't totally understand exactly why. And this can be something that like may not be in your best interest to be doing with the Two of Cups, but there can also be this like not totally aware of it. Like when we have that Seven of Swords, it's not necessarily that we're doing it on purpose, you know. It can just be like, well, I didn't think about it that much and now I'm here and I'm doing that. But this can be a moment where you pause and you can evaluate. Judgment. Exactly what I'm saying here. Judgment is going to be about like taking that closer look to see, am I fighting for something important here, Seven of Wands, or am I doing something that just reinforces my shadow here? Like, am I working on behalf of my shadow, or is this really in the best interest of everybody involved in this situation? And I mean, this can also be something too where it's like if you sit down with yourself, like maybe there's something going on that you're pushing away a little bit here. Like maybe there's something that you're not totally being present to within your relationship with yourself, which means that that can also be having like an impact on the relationships that you have with other people as well. There can be a conflict of interest. I'm seeing Five of Swords pop out. I'm seeing 10 of Cups on the bottom of the deck. What this can mean is that you are figuring out really where your heart is leading you and what your intuition is telling you, given the circumstance that you're finding yourself in, because you can have something going on that needs to be worked with on a mental level in order for you to have the breakthrough that's needed here, which means that you can be in a position where you're not totally connected with your 10 of Cups, meaning you are working out something. You are in the middle of a process where you are going to become more and more clear on what is the right path for you to be taking here at a time when you don't feel totally clear on that. This judgment is going to be used on the Five of Swords. So what this means is like, where am I not being totally open? Where am I maybe being closed-minded? Where is there something here that I need to confront and I need to face that I may possibly be avoiding? That means too that for some of you, there can be an issue that you're having with somebody that you are close with, or this can be like in your close relationships too. But it does feel like something that can be worked out. Like there can be a resolution here. Yeah, I mean, classically, Seven of Swords and the High Priestess can be kind of dismissing what we're feeling on a deeper level. The High Priestess is about that deeper guidance that we have and like the truth where we stand emotionally. Having Seven of Swords above it can be like, I don't totally understand what it is that I'm feeling here. And I'm also too like getting this call from my higher self, and I'm not like, I'm seeing my higher self calling on the phone and I'm like screening the call here. I'm not picking it up. This can be the feeling. And then we can be confused as to why we're doing that too. Like I feel kind of like I'm leaving the High Priestess on the other end of the phone here and I'm not picking it up, and I don't really know like why exactly I'm doing that. And it feels like it's because there is some type of conflict that needs to be worked out, but this can be something that you don't feel totally, I don't know if it's like you don't feel ready for it, or it's something that you just feel like maybe unprepared to confront. But then it's like there's an issue. It's not like everything's fine and you're just like, don't bother me, High Priestess. It feels more so like there is something that's going on here, and there may be like moves that need to be made in order to support this. And there can be a part of you that maybe doesn't want to have to, like maybe you don't want to have to face something fully. Maybe you don't want to have to confront something fully. Maybe you don't want something to be like out in the air even. Having Five of Swords and having Seven of Swords can be like wanting to deal with something quietly, but it may need to be more like out loud, maybe the way that this is being dealt with. See? Ten of Swords wanting to come out. Wow, all of the sword energy that we have Five of Swords, we have Seven of Swords, we have Three of Swords. but then we have Three of Cups. I feel like you go through this process being like, is this going to be split apart forever, just for things to actually come back together? Because that Three of Cups is about things being reconciled. So you start with some type of issue here that is ongoing, I'm hearing for some of you. With Seven of Swords and Seven of Wands, you need to get clear on your intention and what is motivating what you're doing. Because with the Seven of Wands, there can be something that you are like defending yourself against, that you are pushing away, that you are like not letting in. And it may be something where it's time for this to be worked with. Because maybe this is something with Seven of Wands and Three of Swords. Maybe it's something you didn't even want to touch. It's like something there that needs to be navigated through, and you can be like, no, I'm not even going to deal with that. But then you can have these underpinnings coming through of like informing you that you need to be present to this, because it's not normal for you to be feeling this. Two of Cups and Five of Swords is like you're not on good terms with someone here, but it can also be, it's going to be reflective of something going on with your dynamic with yourself. Where are you in conflict with yourself here? There's something going on that you may not be being totally present to. Where is there something that's going on within your relationship with yourself where there's actually like something that needs to be addressed here? And it's connected with like your state of mind. It's connected with how you're seeing things. It's connected with the narrative here. Five of Swords is an invitation for us to work something out so something can change and so we can move forward, so something can be settled, so something can be resolved, so this friction can be understood and worked with and then integrated, so it's not something that's just like looming there and feeling weird when we look in that direction. And let's just like avoid looking in that corner over there. When we have Seven of Swords and we have the High Priestess, it's something that we can continue to sweep under the rug if we're not willing to take a look at it, but you can't outrun it because that feeling is still there. So it may not be somebody like shouting in your face, but it's these subtle things that you're feeling that are keeping you from feeling like a sense of reconciliation with the way that you're feeling at the end of the day. When you come into a place of reconciliation with yourself about the way that you are feeling here, it also allows there to be that flowing into the relationships that you have as well. With 7 of Wands and 3 of Swords, we can want to avoid something because it feels painful. We cannot want to have to say it out loud. We cannot want to look directly at it. Meanwhile, it's sitting there and it feels uncomfortable. So why is that? Why are we not taking a closer look at this? So judgment is going to be the thing that helps you understand that. And judgment too is going to be like looking at this and saying like, what can make this better here? What can allow things to come back together into a natural state of balance and harmony? Because it is possible for that to happen, but this is not a top-down approach. This is a bottom-up approach. This is something where what needs to happen is that within your relationship with yourself, there needs to be that reconciliation. And then that will guide you through your relationships as well. But if you're trying to do things externally and moving them around, it feels like it's not really getting to that catalyst of what's happening there. So meaning, if you are in a place where you're not in conflict with yourself, there's not going to be a conflict with anyone else either. When you're in a place of conflict with yourself, there will be potentially conflict with others. But it's never going to be that you're in a place of peace with yourself, but you're having issues externally. It doesn't work like that. And having the 2 of Cups, this can be somebody that you are very, very, very close with. And having 3 of Cups, it's like, this is somebody that you may want to be on like much better terms with them than how it is now. And so this is something that needs to be addressed. But as I said before, like it can be something that you're really like neglecting. It can be something that you're avoiding. It can be something that you're dismissing here. Meanwhile, you're still feeling that. And so that's not going away. Seeing the Lovers coming out, not surprised to see this. So the Lovers is going to focus on a relationship that you have with another person, having that 5 of Swords. Something's going on between the 2 of you. This can be too, like they have one perspective, maybe you have another perspective, maybe you're like not agreeing. I feel with the High Priestess, like there's a deeper understanding of what's going on here. But with the 7 of Swords, it may be something that you don't want to be present to. Now, why would that be? Because we have the 3 of Swords here. What that means is that if you were to be totally honest with yourself about what you really understand about this, it may be something that you don't want to admit to because of what that means then. So that 7 of Wands is you being like, nope, like anything, then feeling what's really going on here and the truth of what's really going on here. Because that 7 of Swords is like, I'm going to keep telling myself that I don't really know what I know about this. But that High Priestess is like, you're tuned in already. You know what's going on here. Like, the High Priestess is never wrong. That is the part of you that looks at this, assesses what's going on, and can tell you exactly what's happening here. And from a perspective that is not like persuaded any which way by preference, this is the part of you that is just totally connected with the truth, with the essence of truth of what's really happening. But with that 7 of Swords, it can be something that you may not want to be present to because of maybe what that means then with the 3 of Swords. So this can be your way of actually avoiding something that you perceive as painful. And so to keep the charade essentially going on here. but you can also feel at the same time like you're not being totally present to what it is that you're feeling, and beyond that, what it is that you actually know. And you can be like masking the way that you feel on a deeper level too, but it's not only just like I'm deliberately doing it with this person. It's like you're doing that with yourself too when we have that Seven of Swords there. So you can maybe feel like you're lying to yourself a little bit here with the Seven of Swords, or something that you're like, I know that if I thought about that a little bit harder that I would like see this clearly, but there's a part of me that kind of doesn't want to. The Lovers and the Devil, interesting, but not surprising. When we have the Devil, we are being persuaded by fear. We are being persuaded by something that is not truth and that is not love, yet it can feel very difficult to address it because we feel like we're getting something that we need out of it. That is the stance of this. Yeah, I mean, with the Lovers and the Devil and the Nine of Swords, this can be, if I really face what it is that's going on here and I really call this out and I really admit this to myself, it means that I'm going to have to go into what is Nine of Swords, like anxious about what's going to happen, like having to face the unknown, feeling uncomfortable with that. Like the Devil is this energy where we keep buying into it because it helps us continue to avoid something. Not totally recognizing that if this were something that we were present to, it would be something that's not chasing us around anymore. And the cost becomes higher and higher for us to buy into this continuously, because at the end of the day, deep within our core, we really do know the truth. How can you get through a situation that feels like you have to address something extremely unpleasant, where you have to face something that feels very, very challenging to be facing? Yet at the same time, you're not feeling at peace. It's like, you know that things are not all good within this situation, but there can be well, it's not fully, totally being addressed. At least the catalyst isn't anyway. To put off having to deal with what's really going on here. Meanwhile, I feel like I can't relax. So maybe even too, you're experiencing something going on with your nervous system. You can be like, something can be going on here where you're feeling the symptoms of an unsettled situation that's not being taken care of, essentially. With the Lovers and the Devil, it can be this thing that's going on with you and this person where maybe there's a feeling of safety within the relationship, but not facing the truth of what's going on. So it can be like, well, this feels like a safety blanket in a way, but there's a very high price that's being paid. And what is this helping you to avoid? The Nine of Swords. So what that means is this can be helping you to avoid having to face something unknown, having to face an unknown situation, having to face what would naturally come next if you were really listening to your higher self here. And ultimately, this is so crazy. So what the Nine of Swords is so worried about, like what is that, when you're like looking at the big question mark in front of you, that you're like, what is that going to be there? It's like, it's the Queen of Cups, which is just, it's a very strange thing to be seeing here, because what this means is that this can be somewhere where you're like actually disconnected from your feminine water energy. And you can be feeling like maybe terrified of connecting with that part of yourself. Maybe because of what that means if you come back together with that part of yourself. So all of this is something where there's a desire to emotionally heal something very big. If you're going to do that, there's something that you have to be present to, and it can be something where until this is like fully faced, it's kind of like this. The part of you that's the Queen of Cups knows that there's an issue here, but if you keep distance from that part of yourself, It's like not talking in your ear about it. Meanwhile, you don't feel settled, you don't feel relaxed, you don't feel safe, you don't feel at peace. You're kind of like on guard, just waiting for the next thing to happen because the next thing is going to happen. Because that's just how it is. It's like maybe even what's abnormal is feeling a sense of peace in this situation. But you can actually feel terrified of connecting with the Queen of Cups, which is like the true essence of your experience of what it is that you're feeling. And whatever it is that you have going on between you and this person, it can be keeping you from having to be present with that part of having to be present to that part of yourself. That is like innately you. Like that, the Queen of Cups is a very significant aspect of our energy. And it feels too like something that you've been kind of disconnected from. And this is the part of you that is totally in tune and present to what it is that you're feeling, what it is that you know, what's going on in your heart, and how you take action in relation to that. So what this means all in all is that when you come to a place where you're willing to be totally honest and totally present with yourself as it relates to the Queen of Cups, that part of you that is tuned in, that part of you that is connected, that part of you that is psychically aware, energetically aware of what it is that's going on here. In working this out, it allows the conflict to be resolved. What that means, though, is that there may be a safety blanket that you like lose in the process, but it's like the devil is the safety blanket here. This isn't really something that's a real true safety blanket. You know what I'm saying? Like this is something where there's an ingrained like compromise that is too expensive that's already being made, because we have that Five of Swords there, which shows like this isn't a safety blanket that takes the conflict away. It just helps you numb, or it just helps you avoid. But we can still feel that Five of Swords still there. Like there is still an issue. There's an underlying issue and it's not going away. And the only way that this is going to be resolved is you coming to a place where you are being totally tuned in and connected and present to what it is that you're feeling. As I said before, if this is something that you decide to do, it feels like there's something that has to be faced that you may not want to face here with the Three of Swords. It can be like a painful truth. It can be a very painful emotional truth that you would be being present to, but it's something that's already going on and you already know it, but it can be something that you haven't totally admitted to yourself. The beauty and the reason why one would be motivated to face something painful is because then you move through it and it gets healed, and then you don't have this thing like the thorn in your side anymore. It's not there anymore because you're at peace once again, because you've worked through the stuff that needs to be worked through rather than avoiding it. You're gonna have to get honest with yourself about this if this is something that you want to be aware of. If not, you can feel like you're not in a place of total truth with yourself. And like, is that something that you want? Because I feel at this point like it's coming up to say, if this is something that you're not going to be facing, you're making the conscious decision to do that, and then don't be surprised if things aren't feeling right. You know, like things don't feel right when stuff needs to be addressed and stuff needs to be faced to encourage you to resolve it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if everything is good, everything's good, then you don't feel like there's that tension and that friction and like something saying, hey, pay attention to me. When things are good, that feeling isn't there. When things need to be addressed and they need to be resolved, that's when these feelings are here and you feel like you can't really relax, or you don't feel settled, or you don't feel like, I can breathe and like everything is good. And you know those feelings when you feel like that. When things are in alignment. This is saying something's not in alignment, and no matter what you do with the devil there, no matter what it is that you do, it's not going to make it go away. The only way that this is going to go away is if you are honest with yourself. That's how this goes away, because then it can be integrated, because we don't need the message of the feeling anymore. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.